Back at it again with a second chicken fabrication. We are starting off by removing those wings, locating that second joint away from the breast, and going right into and up into that joint and removing those beautiful wings. Since the last fabrication, I did realize that I probably should have been using a smaller knife. So here I am cutting away at the skin that is binding the thigh and the breast of the bird. Now moving on, I am now locating the oysters on the back of the bird and going ahead using them as buttons to push out those nice thigh bones. Finding the cartilage or bone that separates the two breasts, I am using the knife to cut close as possible to that plate and using the very tip to remove the flesh from the bone. At this point, I'm realizing that the wishbone had broken at some point and trying to remove it right now, but I eventually move forward, doing my best to avoid it and avoid getting stuck or scratched by it. Here I've come across the ligament, cutting straight through it with little to no resistance. Now I am removing that tenderloin for later use. Check out that tenderloin. Now I'm repeating the same process as I am on the other side of that breastplate and using the tip of that knife to stay as close as possible to the bone, removing most of the flesh. Except for this part, I didn't do quite the best. I did eventually leave a little bit of flesh left on that bone. RIP flesh. Now on the back side of that bird, I'm going ahead and scoring the skin, getting ready to remove the oyster. Scooping along that bone to get as much of that oyster out. Onto the thigh ligaments, I'm going ahead and cutting straight through them with little to no pressure or resistance. And there you have a thigh and leg. Repeating those same steps on this side, I am going ahead and scooping it out. It was a little bit more difficult, but somehow I yielded more meat off of that bone than I did on the other side, and cutting straight through those ligaments. Got a little lost there, had to flip it around and cut through, but luckily not too much trouble, no resistance. And just like last time, I can't help myself. I always want to separate that thigh and that leg. So here I am going ahead and finding those joints and separating the two. This time I decided I wanted to remove that thigh bone, so here I am carefully trying to do that without removing too much flesh from the actual piece of meat itself. And as you can tell, I've been putting stuff away to the side onto a tray with another tray below it that has plenty of crushed ice, so that way all of those pieces stay as cold as they possibly can outside of refrigeration. And here we have some boneless thigh meat sans cartilage. And again, with the separation of the thigh and the leg, I can't help myself. I cannot. And eventually you'll see that I am going to remove that thigh bone again from that thigh muscle. If I can get to it. There it is. We've gotten to it. You can skip through all this. If you didn't skip through, then you probably can see that I was not successful in removing that cartilage. So once I'm done with removing that bone, I cut to it without cartilage. Ta-da! So in the last chicken fabrication, I did do an airline breast, so here I am showing a supreme instead by removing that drumette. And there you have it. I have hopefully successfully, mostly, fabricated a second chicken. I'd say that was a B-.